Welcome into Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. Thanks for being with us. My name is Madelyn Burke. He is Paul Dottino. The phone number here is 201-939-4513, or you can find us on social media at #GiantsChat. And as a reminder, you can find the entire archive of this show and our entire podcast network on the Giants mobile app, podcast platforms everywhere, and giants.com/podcast. We are joining you from the Giants podcast studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Welcome to the show. It's Wednesday, my dudes. A second joint practice of Giants and Jets. This one at our house at Quest Diagnostics Training Center. A toasty day out there, Paul Dottino. Real feel was circling 100. And it got spicy at times, but it was a fun joint practice.
Okay, I'm just glad we have air conditioning in this Hackensack Meridian Health podcast studio, because today the real temperature, real feel was, I was told it was 104 is what I was told. Real temperature, though.
I'm wearing this New York Giants tank top.
It was like 90. Humidity was over 80%. And I can tell you, after the first 5 minutes out there this morning, I was already more uncomfortable than I was the entire 2-hour practice yesterday at Florham Park.
Wow.
That's how like sticky and nasty it was out there.
I also think it helps. Florham Park, they have this giant tree. It's like the tree of life in the middle of the practice field.
It
provides shade, which is nice.
It's the Winnie the Pooh tree.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
I never thought of it that way, but it kind of is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Winnie the Pooh tree. Anyway, so I know, folks.
You gotta
get there. You got to get there to understand. When you get there and see it, you'll trust me. You'll understand.
Listen,
you'll understand.
It all makes sense if you don't think about it.
But I think to be honest with you, these two practices were very good for the team because they get a chance to see somebody else. We've discussed many times how, you get to the dog days of August, and these teams are tired of going against their own guys. They're tired of running the same plays all the time. At least this gives them some variety. Now, for the second straight day, there were mixed results. Right?
Yeah.
Some portions, some sections were really good for the Giants. Others were better for the Jets. That's to be expected.
Yeah.
That's not a big deal. But what I will say is that the good news for both teams, and I can't totally speak with 100% certainty for the Jets, but I can for the Giants. They did not have any weather casualties today. They didn't lose anybody to injury, and they didn't lose anybody to sickness.
That's good. The Giants did lose somebody to childbirth, though. Jermaine Illuminor welcomed a child late last night. Okay, so that's something.
But that's good.
That's a good thing.
That's not illness or injury.
Nope. I was just figuring that's a good pivot point to mention that Jermaine Illuminor was not at practice today. Congratulations to the Illuminor family for
late
last night. So
he was excused for a pretty good reason.
Yep. Very good reason.
We did get to see Jalen Hyatt back on the practice field today after he had several days away from the field. We also saw a very, very important return. Okay, folks, I got to be honest with you. When guys miss practice at this time of the year, it is a problem. Okay, so to get Hyatt and to get
Evan Neal.
That's what I was about. I lost my train of thought for a second.
There you go. I'm with you.
To get Evan Neal back was a big deal. He played some left and some right guard again today. The heat's really impacting me. You can tell, folks.
We're still melting.
Yeah, for sure. But that's big, okay? Because you have to believe, nothing's for sure. You have to believe the fact that they were out there today. It gives them a better chance to not only get another practice in during this week. It'll be a carded practice, but that they'll probably be able to play in Saturday's game, which is critical for these guys.
Well, and as head coach Brian Daboll told us going into the first preseason game, everyone who can play will play some preseason snaps. And I think that seems to be the mantra that he's holding throughout the preseason, not just for game one, but throughout. If you can play, you're going to get on the field. Not everyone's going to be on there for a quarter or a half, but people will be getting reps on the field, which is very important. you mentioned Jalen Hyatt coming back. He did not play in the preseason opener at Buffalo. And Jalen's a guy who, he put on 20 pounds in this offseason. He's really, Russell Wilson finds a lot of opportunities to talk about how great of a player he is and how great of an asset he is. And, he needs that opportunity to show what he can offer to this wide receiver room, which is, having a lot of guys make standout plays. You see what Montreal Washington's doing. You see Bo Collins making plays, Dalen Cambry making plays.
Collins came back today too.
Collins came back to practice today too and made some plays out there.
He caught a bomb from Dart, 25-yard touchdown pass.
Exactly, yeah. So in this time of year, as Paul mentioned, you don't want to be missing time because it's always a competition. No matter where you stand in your draft order or how many years you've been a part of the organization, you need to continue to earn your job day in and day out. Drew Phillips also returned to practice today. Great to see him back. Evan Neal, you mentioned. Tay Banks, Chris Manhertz out today, as well as Jermaine Illuminor, as we previously stated.
Yeah, I don't think that Manhertz and Banks were anything serious. I didn't get that impression once again. And quite frankly, here's the other thing, folks, I want you to remember. Every time you hear a practice report about a guy who did not participate, it's important to go back to what Coach Dable has told us at least 3 or 4 times during the course of the summer. And that is, they have a snap plan for practice and the preseason games for every single guy on the roster. And he's not divulging to any of us what those snap plans are.
Right.
So, in effect, everybody has their own load management situation where they're going
Which I know you love about the NBA, Paul.
Yeah, right? So they're going to have these program days off. And I think this is all part of Brian Dable's hope that the Giants will have healthier players, will have guys who are more durable, and certainly in key spots want to make sure those guys don't get knocked out of the lineup. So I'm not going to complain or be critical of it. I know that there are some people who get all wishy-washy, like, oh he didn't practice, he must be hurt, or this is going to be a problem. No, it seems to me that most of these guys either have a little soreness or they're under load management.
Sure, yeah, and a lot of it too is it's a delicate balance between health and availability and reps and trying to make sure that you're getting the appropriate reps. And if it's a regular season week 1, maybe you're pushing, but if it's a preseason, you're trying to balance to make sure you're ready for week 1. Another player, Malik Neighbors, who did not practice yesterday's joint practice at Florham Park, also did not practice today, but he was on the sideline, fully dressed, out there participating, being a teammate and being amongst it. So that is also a valuable asset to have if you're not on the field. Because some of the guys who are not practicing are, not on the field. But Malik he's like, hey, I'm here, I'm out there. Of course, we know he had the toe issue in the spring. Dabes is just very deliberate, and the training staff is very deliberate at making sure that he is 100% full go for week 1.
How times have changed. It just makes me laugh because Bill Parcells could not stand when anybody missed a practice. I mean, Ronnie Barnes would tell him, so-and-so can't go. And Bill would be like, you sure, Ronnie? What are you can't get out there? Today, with all of these load management plans that they can put guys on. Oh, he's going to miss a dual practice. No, he's going to miss a regular practice. Oh, no, he's not going to play in the preseason game. They got a bunch of ways that they can figure these load management plans for these guys. Dexter Lawrence, for example, has done a lot of load management since training camp started.
But he's been in these joint practices, participating, getting really involved.
And
but
that's
also,
the point.
He was still coming back from that elbow injury that had him hurt last season. So it's not necessarily load management in that. It's also, making sure that you're fully recovering from the injury.
Yes. So everybody has a different type of Rubik's Cube of whatever off days they're going to have. And, again, this is today's football where you have to realize that's part of today's game because you're trying to keep these guys available on game day. That's the most important day of the week.
Yeah.
That's it.
It is.
And you just got to deal with it.
You got to. One guy who, we didn't talk about a lot, but he did stand out. He's a young guy on this roster. His name is Abdul Carter. He looked pretty good out there today, Paul. I gotta give him a little bit of credit, but I also want to bring up something that he tweeted this morning, which I love. Abdul Carter says, "Excuse me if you see me and I'm looking a little rough. I'm not getting a haircut until I get a sack." Of course, in a game, not in practice, in a game. not getting a haircut until I get a sack. Now, a lot of that is going to depend on how many reps he gets. I mean, he got 6 snaps in that first game.
Good ones, too.
Good ones. But again, how many reps does he get? How long does this go? I don't know, but I am here for it. He is so determined. I don't care. I don't care if I get a little messy looking. I am not doing this until I get a sack. And I'm a big fan of that.
Get the razor ready.
Yeah, I told Davey.
I don't think it will take too long.
I told Davey, I saw Davey on the sideline who cuts a lot of the guys here on this team. I said, listen, Davey, I'm going to need you standing on the sideline with the clippers ready to give this man a clean fade lineup the second that sack happens.
Yeah,
pageantry of it.
I love his focus. I love his intensity. I love his determination. And if he's going to issue that challenge to himself, well, fine. Whatever he's got to do to motivate his own karma is wonderful for me. I thought the funniest thing about him today, and I thought you were going to mention this, is that he sprinted to the post-practice podium to beat Brian Burns to the microphone. Okay? Now, Brian, as you guys know, is a pro's pro and a great dude, and he actually seems to enjoy talking to us when he's at the podium. And, so he was a little slow getting over there, and Abdul Carter does a mad sprint, and he gets up there, and then Brian Burns gets over there and kicks him off the podium. Get out of here, rookie, And this is the kind of camaraderie we're seeing from these guys.
Yeah.
And that's good.
And you love that. And that's something that is felt. I talked to Javon Holland about this, about how, these guys have their own little handshakes and individual dap ups and all that kind of stuff. There's just so much camaraderie and teamwork and togetherness already in this locker room. And he's like, that's just kind of what you need. That's that special sauce that really gets you through the highs and lows of the season.
Well, I think one of the things that is really important for this team, and we've talked about it every year, getting off to a good start, but I think right now, if you want to reap any of the rewards of the good-natured feeling that this team has now, if you want any kind of momentum, if you want any kind of springboard, you're going to have to get at least one of those first 2 games. Division games on the road, Washington, Dallas. Folks, I don't want to be a killjoy here. God knows I'm a glass half full guy all the time. Okay, we all know that. But if you come out of the box 0-2 on the road in the division,
going into Sunday Night Football
against Kansas City. Yeah. All of a sudden, a lot of this energy and a lot of this vibe is in a very tenuous spot. The whole attitude and the buzz that we're feeling now, which is really good.
It's very good.
All of a sudden, it starts waffling on a wobbly tightrope.
But why would you speak that into existence, Paul?
No. I'm trying to speak it out of existence. What I'm saying is, folks, that we're glowing about how great it feels to be around here right now.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that could be something that will provide some psychological momentum for this team as long as they can keep it. Now, how do you keep it? You win one of those first 2 games in the division on the road. You do that. You got a chance to keep this buzz alive. That's how important it is not to come out of this box 0-2.
Nothing keeps the vibes high like vitamin
I can't do it on my own.
Vitamin W.
Madelyn, I can't do it on my own. I got the vibe. Oh, yeah. But I can't do it on my own.
This man's got the vibes. Strong to quite strong, Paul Dottino. Hey, Giants fans, make sure you go and subscribe to the Giants Huddle podcast. It features long-form interviews with Giants players, coaches, and front office staff past and present. Plus, hear from the best analysts covering Big Blue and the NFL. Search for Giants Huddle and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or go to giants.com/podcast. And don't forget, if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star positive review for all of our Giants podcasts. Let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, all the deal. And thank you so much for listening. 201-939-4513 is the phone number, as we remind you. But, Paul, I know you want to get through some plays before we go to the phone.
We should mention a few because not everybody was here today.
Yeah.
We know that season ticket holders and some other folks who are on Giants.com got their free tickets. Had a really good crowd out here today. But, again, some folks had work or whatever it was, couldn't get here.
And it is a Wednesday, and this is the last practice that was open to the public.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks.
Next time is game day.
We're done. We're done with that. All right, star of the day, Paulson Adebo. Absolutely sensational coverage today. In the 11-on-11s, they basically stuck him to Garrett Wilson. And you know what? 4 passes thrown by Justin Fields that I saw in the team drills. 1 completion was a short one, wasn't worth a whole lot. The other 3, Adebo was all over him, and Fields had to throw the ball away. Mm-hmm. He had no room to get that ball in there. And Garrett Wilson, you don't need me to tell you, the guy is a premier receiver in this league. Adebo basically, again, wasn't quite a shutout, but as close to a shutout as you can get. I think he was the defensive star of the day. I know Thibodeau had a stop for loss during 11-on-11s. There was a potential sack there. Again, you know how I feel about calling sacks in camp. It's kind of wishy-washy. I'm just going right to Adebo. I just thought he was blanket terrific today. And so I just wanted to get that out of there first. A couple of offensive plays. We want to throw some of these out. Mm-hmm. Jameis Winston to Cambry on a left go route. Beautiful toss again. We know Winston's got the arm. There's never been a doubt about that. 7-on-7s. Giants look real good in 7-on-7s. Wilson had 4 really nice completions downfield. Dart had one to Humphrey. Little Jordan Humphrey for a touchdown. Yeah. Which, by the way, they hooked up on Saturday for a score.
For his first career NFL touchdown.
Against the Buffalo Bills. Mm-hmm. Also, 11-on-11s, we got Wilson hitting Greg Dulcich in the right seam for a 25-yard touchdown pass. We got Dart hitting Bo Collins. We mentioned him a few minutes ago. Yeah. 25-yard touchdown pass down the right side. So those were some of the better plays during the course of the day. And then quickly in the red zone. In the red zone, we got, let's see here, Wilson with a scramble to the left side for a touchdown. We got Wilson hitting Olszewski, Gunnar Olszewski, for a touchdown on a left out route. We got Dart scrambling left side for a touchdown. Yeah. We also have Fedoni caught the ball at the 1. You think with a 6'7" frame, he might have fallen across the goal line? I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't see that play. It's hard watching joint practices because you're like, Giants offense versus Jets defense. Giants defense versus Jets offense. And it's like being center court at Wimbledon. You're like, this way.
Indeed.
And so there are certain things that you're mentioning. I'm like, oh, I missed that. Or, oh, yeah, I saw that. So I didn't see the Fedoni one.
Yeah. So basically, I would say, yeah. And then finally, in the 2-minute drill, at the very end of practice, each team got to run 1 2-minute drill, the length of the field. Yep. The Giants wound up with 4 different completions from Russell Wilson, but ultimately they wound up falling short on a 60-yard field goal by Jude McAtamney.
Went wide right.
Yeah, well, it was short.
And right.
Yeah. It might have been right, too, but it was definitely short. Yeah. And I felt bad for Jude because he's got a heck of a leg. He just didn't get a good foot into that one. And let's see here. The Jets did not score. In fact, they wound up 4th down with a couple of seconds to go, and it would have been like a 65, 70-yard field goal. They didn't even try it. So they just blew off their scoring opportunity.
Not everyone's Cam Little with the Jaguars out here hitting a 70-yard field goal in a preseason game. That was impressive.
That is so ridiculous.
And it doesn't matter that it's preseason because there's every circumstance is the exact same as it would be in the regular season. That's a 70-yard field goal, ladies and gentlemen.
He had room.
I know. He could have gotten it from 75. That thing cleared it.
He had room.
Yeah.
I did not. Let's see. Oh, there was one other touchdown. Jets did score 1 red zone touchdown. It was a pass play to Stone Smart, the tight end. Mm-hmm. So that was a good period. The red zone period and the 2-minute period was good timing for the Giants, even though they didn't get the field goal at the very end. Wilson did throw some completions. So that's basically what I thought the highlights were from today.
Solid highlights. No notes on that one. 201-939-4513. I know the phone lines have been lit up since we started this show. So let's go to line 1, Paul, and get this thing started because Joe in Pennsylvania has been holding pretty much since we started talking here on BBK. Joe, welcome to the show. You're on Big Blue Kickoff Live with Paul Dottino and Madelyn Burke.
Hi. Both of you look great there, Paul, Madelyn. Paul, you said the best player was the defensive backs. Would you attribute that at all to the pass rush?
Today, no, Paulson Adebo just had blanket coverage on Garrett Wilson. I mean, I was very interested in that matchup in particular because we've been so pleased with the Giants secondary during the course of the offseason. And Adebo, to me, He's got a safety's body, but he has the athleticism and the quickness and the cover skills to be a dynamite corner. And that's why he covered the number one receiver a lot in New Orleans. He is a special player. The Giants paid a lot of money to get him. He was at the top of the free agent cornerback market. And so I really wanted to see him tested, not just by our guys. We've seen him go up against Neighbors, the last couple of weeks. We've seen him do well. And Neighbors has also made catches on him a few times.
Right.
I wanted to see what he would do against Garrett Wilson. And that's why, no, I don't think the pass rush was overly terrific today. I just thought Adebo played really sound, solid, fundamental defense on a great receiver. And that's why I'm gloating about it.
It's worth mentioning, too, that it's impressive to watch how well he's playing, considering he's 10 months removed from a broken femur. He broke his leg in October and is back out there looking like spry and fresh and ready to go.
Hasn't shown any signs of it since day one when he walked onto campus.
Yeah.
This guy's a physical specimen. He's one dynamite player. I think, believe it or not, even though he got big money, I think he's an underrated signing. I really do.
Okay, because I'm calling about our depth chart there, and I'm more concerned with our defensive corners, and then maybe the defensive line and stopping the run, and then the offensive line. And while you were there, I know we have the third claim in the draft on the players released, and I know a few years ago we took the safety from the Jets. Is there anybody from the Jets that is standing out on you that they might have to cut to, and the Giants would be there gladly to take them again? So that's all I have. Where are we on the depth charts that you are concerned, and if there is anybody that stood out from the Jets that we might claim? So thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for the call.
Well, let's answer that in two parts.
Yes.
Number one, there was no one in particular on the Jets that I had my eye on that I would have wanted to steal from them or that I thought was on the bubble. I do think the Giants should be closely looking at backup corner. And let's just for a moment not talk about Flott and Banks, who have each had some missed time in the last week and a half. I'm thinking, who's behind Drew Phillips at the slot? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. Nick Jones has probably been the guy who's fared the best of the backup slot corners. But if I'm the Giants, I'm looking for a backup slot corner, a guy hopefully who could also play the boundary if you need him in a pinch. Mm-hmm. And I'm certainly keeping an eye also on a potential special teams gunner, because the Giants they got a shuffle there right now. They're not sure exactly what they're doing with their gunners. That's where I would be looking. But did I see someone on the Jets that I'd want to grab? I can't honestly say anybody stuck out. Some years ago, Lawrence Cager stuck out in the dual practice, and I immediately pegged him, and lo and behold, the Jets cut him, and we grabbed him the next day. And I swear to you, it's not like I knew anything. I just saw it. Yeah. And nobody like that today. Happened with Pinnock, by the way, too.
Well, it is
the Giants
tough
saw
too.
Pinnock, and they grabbed him when the Jets cut him.
Yeah, it is tough, too, because you're watching this, and, there's players that stand out on the field, but as far as we know, or at least as far as I know, I'm not sure who's on the Jets bubble in certain regards. Some of these guys, I think, okay, maybe that guy's a bubble, maybe that guy's a cut candidate. I don't know, because I'm not as familiar with their front office thinking and their depth as the Giants. So it's kind of hard to say, oh yeah, that guy, if he doesn't make the 53. It's also going to come down to, too, the health and availability of the players on the Giants when the 53 comes.
No doubt.
What happens between now and then? There are positions now that we think this is a thin position that will need to be addressed. But is there another position that suddenly becomes one of issue? And fortunately, there's a firsthand experience of a player the Jets happen to just not have room for on their roster. Happens all the time. Mm-hmm. 201-939-4513 is the phone number. Let's go back to the phone lines. Henry in Westchester has been holding quite a bit as well. Henry, thanks for calling Big Blue Kickoff Live. You're on the line with Madelyn and Paul.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I know it's a bit early, but I wanted to ask who you guys think is going to make the end of the wide receiver depth chart. I was happy to see Bo Collins back in practicing because I remember a UDFA that shined against the Jets in a preseason game a while back.
Number 80, right? Number 80, who wasn't number 80 at the time.
No, he was number 3.
That's correct.
Number 3, yeah.
That is correct. Very good. See, you paying attention.
Oh, yeah. But I know there's Bo Collins, there's Montreal Washington, a vet, and a bunch of other guys. So who have you seen shine? Who do you think's going to make it?
How many receivers do you think they're keeping on the 53, first of all? That's the first question you have to answer before you decide who the last guy is going to be.
Yeah, because usually it's 5 or 6.
Maybe 7?
I'm with Madelyn on this one.
Yeah,
I think it's got to be
5 or 6.
I think it's got to be 5 minimum, possibly 6. 7, you got no chance.
7's a lot, unless you're doing like a 4 receiver set every time. And
well, the problem is, you have at least 3 tight ends you're going to keep. Yeah. At least. And some people think they should be keeping 4. But
running backs for
sure 3. I'm really pushing Turbo Miller as the 4th.
Especially because he's been making plays on special teams.
I don't want to lose him.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose him. So I'd like to keep 4 backs.
Running backs.
You're not. No.
You're
6
not getting
is your
to
max.
7. Yeah, 6 is the max, I think. You know you got Malik, Wandale, Darius.
Keep going.
Locked in.
Hyatt. That's 4. Okay. 5 is Smith Marset. Who's your dynamite return guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you're going to go 6, one spot, Bo Collins, to me, is probably the best pure receiver of the bunch, of all the candidates who are in the mix.
And he's got the size, the differentiating factor that, you don't have from a lot of these guys. Although, Montreal Washington, another guy. Jackson Dart texts Brian Dable all the time. This guy can ball. He loves Montreal Washington.
And he's got some speed.
Yeah.
And he comes from the Kansas City Chiefs. So, he's got some pedigree and quality. The problem with Washington for me is that I've seen drops littered throughout training camp from him. Okay?
You know who else had drops in training camp? His first camp with the New York Giants was Darius Slayton. And he is now the longest tenured receiver in that room.
That is true.
But I remember, yes, that was his rookie year, but Slayton's rookie year, he had a bad case of the drops. He couldn't catch a cold in training camp, and then he turned out to be a really consistent player for this team. So
you can get out of that. That's true.
Gameplay, I think, is a bit more valuable.
Well, that's why Bo Collins missing preseason game number 1 was a big deal for him. Mm-hmm. Now, he's back on the field today, which would make us believe he'll play against the Jets.
Yep.
And if he has another opportunity to play against the Patriots, my man, Bo, listen, if you're out there in the internet world, okay, listen to me, Bo. If you want a spot on this team, not only must you continue to look like the really good quality receiver that you are, but you got to play special teams. Got to be. Because Montreal Washington plays special teams.
Yep.
Okay?
It's a difference maker.
It's a big deal.
And special teams, as we've heard many coaches call it, it's like a gumbo. It's who's available, who can do what. And the more you can do, the more valuable you are. But, to Henry's point, there's a lot of talent in that wide receiver room, and it's going to be a tough decision.
I'm going to tell you something right now. It wouldn't even be a question if Ford Wheaton had not gotten hurt. He would have been the guy. That's it. You would have closed the book. Those are your 6 receivers, and you're definitely keeping those 6 guys.
We didn't mention Cambry, who's also been consistently making plays.
He's another guy who's trying to keep himself on the radar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's got the speed of Washington or the kind of electric escapability that Washington has, but you're right. He certainly has put himself in the conversation. And he certainly does not have the physicality, the size, or the length of Bo Collins.
Right.
And doesn't have the hands of Bo Collins.
Right.
But he's certainly in that soup, if you will.
Yeah. In the soup.
Thank you.
Henry, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate you taking the time. That's going to be a tough one, too. And I think that getting the second preseason game in the books is going to give us a little bit more clarity in terms of who's on the bubble and who's in strong consideration, because you want to see, these guys getting out there and getting game reps. Yes, practice reps are very important, are very valuable, will show you a lot about a player, but we see, and Dable talks about all the time how in practice he likes to put not just players but coaches in uncomfortable positions and in odd circumstances and see how they navigate it. And these aren't necessarily circumstances that you're expecting in a game, but they could arise. And so sometimes, player in a circumstance in practice maybe don't take as much value to that rep as you would to how it's executed on a game stage. Because if they're like, all right, okay practice, but great game player, there's value there.
Well, the game grade is always going to have a little more weight.
Right.
We all understand that, which again is why it's really not good to miss a preseason game. If you're a bubble guy, you got to get out there. I got to throw in Gunnar Olszewski's name too.
Yeah.
There's another kid.
Special teams too.
What doesn't he do?
Yeah.
And he's tough as nails.
You said they're looking for a gunner.
He's been catching, he's been catching everything they throw at him. Had a touchdown pass in the game the other day that he caught against Buffalo. Gunnar Olszewski is as tough as nails. Came back off the sofa when Bryce Ford Wheaton got hurt. They brought him in. I think it was more because he understood the game plan and they wanted someone to be able to run the plays.
He's familiar.
But you know what? He has been very productive since he got back here. So that's another guy. So I think there's 4 receivers, in my opinion, who would be potentially fighting for that number 6 spot.
Yeah. And that is all, touch wood. Hopefully everyone is healthy by the time we get to that point. And then that's going to be a tough decision to make. But that's what you want to see. You want to see tough decisions. And you want to see the guys that you cut getting picked up by other teams, which means you've got so much talent that even the ones who didn't make your roster are getting picked up elsewhere. 201-939-4513 is the phone number. Giants fans, with another impactful draft and free agency class in the books, that means it's full steam ahead to the 2025 season. Take your fandom to the next level with a Giants season ticket membership. Catch all the action at MetLife Stadium with an exciting home schedule on the horizon. With a membership, you will also stay connected to the club all year round, not just on game days, with exclusive member access and benefits. To learn more about a New York Giants season ticket membership, visit giants.com/tickets. 201-939-4513. The phone lines are going off. So, Dots, we're just going to keep cranking these calls through. George in Kansas is our next caller today. George, welcome to the show. You're on Big Blue Kickoff Live with Paul Dottino and Madelyn Burke.
Hi, Madelyn. Hi, Paul. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks for calling, George.
Okay, so I'm just curious, with what you have seen in training camp so far in the spring, what position group do you think is going to be surprise people the most this year?
I would say offensive line.
That's fair.
I think because the bar has been, Giants fans have kind of had the bar so low at the offensive line.
Yeah, that's fair.
They had a really great showing on Saturday in Buffalo, and I think Marcus Bowe has been a great addition.
Mm-hmm.
I like Evan Neal at guard. I'm excited to see the upgrades and the moves that they've made there. What about you, Paul?
There were only 2 position candidates for me. O-line is a really good pick, and if it's not the O-line, I think it's going to be the secondary, because I don't think enough of people are giving credit to Tay Banks for the skill set that he has because of the inconsistencies that he's shown in his technique.
Yeah.
He gets dumped on a lot by the media and by the fans. He is a really talented player, and I think he's grown this year. We've seen it. The other day against Buffalo, he allowed 1 completion to Joshua Palmer off coverage on a crossing route that went for 13 yards. Whoop-de-darn-do. He played the entire half, and that's all he gave up was one 13-yard pass. And the way he closed on the sideline on another target that was against him, and the receiver could only get 1 foot in bounds because he had squashed him up to the sideline, that's a good play. You've heard me talk about him the last 3 days. I think Tay Banks is getting a bad rap from the media and the fans. I'm sorry.
Well, and I don't think it's just from the media and the fans. I think if even if you ask him, he would acknowledge that his play last year was not
inconsistent.
It was not to the level in which that he wanted it to be. He called it a sophomore slump. And I think that he is really focused this season, and I think he's locked in. And, we saw a really great showing from him on Saturday in Buffalo. So I don't disagree. I think that's a great call as well.
I think it's a bad rap only because I think a lot of people just don't think he's very good. And that's not the right way to look at it. His talent is there.
Yeah.
He's got tremendous ability and talent. He just hasn't always used it correctly, and he's been inconsistent. You could talk about that, and that's fair. And I've talked about it as well. But don't besmirch the guy's ability because he's got it.
Yeah, but you can have the ability. Amani Toomer tells me this all the time. He goes, you know what? In the NFL, you're only as good as your last 4 plays, really. You know, what have you done for me lately? And if, your last 4 plays, or maybe your last 4 games, we'll call it that, your last 4. But just your recent history is really all you're graded on. It doesn't matter if you were a Hall of Fame caliber player 5 years ago or 1 year ago.
No doubt.
Or even 2 months ago. If right now, if of recent, you're not living up to expectation. That's how guys get cut. That's how guys get cut. You're only as good as what you're doing lately.
That's true.
And so I think that the lately is what's given Tay Banks the bad rap. And it's not that he doesn't have the skill set. He absolutely has the talent. He absolutely has the skill. I think sometimes people are like, hey, we know you can do better. So we're expecting more from you. And that's a good thing,
I think we've seen that, though, all off season. Those of us who've been here have seen it.
Yes.
And I think that's what gets me gets my dander up a little bit, because I've seen it all off season. I see him doing a whole lot better. But to enhance the answer, it's not just that I'm using Tay Banks as an example. Holland's a really good player.
Yes.
And I don't think a lot of people are really giving him the props that he deserves. And Tyler Nubin had a dynamite rookie season. I know that the interceptions weren't there, and that's what he was billed as coming out of school. The man's a turnover machine.
Yeah.
I get it. But my goodness, he had a terrific rookie season. So you combined those 3 guys with a Debo and Drew Phillips, who I also think had a terrific rookie season. I think everybody's looking at the Giants pass rush because of the 3 edge rushers, and they love Dexter.
Right.
So they all talk about the front.
Right.
Very few people talk about how terrific this secondary could be.
Yeah.
So I kind of think it's the O-line and the secondary.
And also you talk about, Javon Holland, that upgrade at safety. Holland and Tyler Nubin have such a great relationship already. Tyler was telling me the other day, he goes, he reminds me of my brother. And it's kind of endearing the way that they, interact with each other and just have this immediate closeness. And that's important because that, they're on the same page communication wise. It's not just, okay, we work well together as colleagues in the backfield. They're also, supportive of each other, get along well. And that's a great thing.
Final thought. Who benefits the most from a great pass rush? Your secondary.
Exactly.
So,
Thanks
all right,
for the call, George.
Thank you.
I think too, it's like the pass rush is getting a lot of attention because of obviously Abdul Carter and, everyone loves Dexter and Kayvon and Burns. Secondary getting a lot of upgrade, with the addition of Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland and all that we're seeing there. Nobody's talking about the line. Bobby Okereke is just quietly out there just making noise. Micah McFadden, there's the linebacker level too, nothing to sleep on. And I think the Giants defense is really something that at the end of last season, John Mara said, hey, I'm just tired of watching people go up and down the field and score on us.
Yeah,
and I
they didn't stop the run very well.
They didn't last year. And I think that this is something that's been something that they know they've had to zero in on. And I do think that they've made tangible upgrades to the defensive side of the ball. I'm curious to watch how it translates to the game.
See, the hard part for us in addressing that question, Madelyn, is that what have we seen of the rush defense? Well, the only true test.
Well, and Dexter wasn't in the game.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Which is a huge
it's
consideration when one player is missing and there's a drop off in.
It's literally a huge consideration.
If Dexter Lawrence is your run defense, then that's great for Dexter Lawrence, but that's, a lot of pressure on one player to be available and ready to go everywhere.
Understood.
Yeah.
So the Buffalo game was the only true test we have seen this rush defense have. Yes, they gave up, I guess it was 4 rushes of over 10 yards in the game. Mm-hmm. They would like to have cleaned that up. I think it could have been 3 or 4. I'm not sure what the number was. Would you like to clean up? Yes. Okay. But without Dexter in the game, and we know he does play a tremendous amount of reps, and he's just entering his prime right now, that does kind of skew whatever you thought you saw on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the other part to this, too, is let's face it, for a bunch of these guys in the front seven, they're still trying to figure out. Roy Robertson Harris is new to this team.
Mm-hmm.
Ledbetter is new to this team. Golston is new to this team. This was their first time really to kind of get together and take snaps in a game environment. It's going to take them time.
Yeah.
When Spags got here in 2007, the first 2 games, the Giants gave up over 400 yards of offense apiece. Everybody wanted to kill the defensive coordinator and say this team has no chance of going anywhere. And then by week 3, Spags tightened down the nuts and the bolts, and all of a sudden everything was off to the races, and the Giants defense played terrific.
Yeah.
So it will take this unit a little time to get all the cracks filled in, get the spackle out on the wall, and, kind of paint things over. It's going to take a little time. They're not going to be great stopping the run right out of the box.
Yeah. Now we got a couple questions
Go
on
ahead.
YouTube as well. Chris NY24, any news on Scat's injury? It's a hamstring, tweaked it a little bit. Still sore. They're monitoring it. They're being very careful with that one, but nothing concrete yet, because also important to note that there are different rules in the regular season than in the preseason in terms of what teams are required to report for injuries.
We talked about that on this show a ton.
We talked about it a ton,
Folks.
but just reminding you all that the regular season teams have to be more specific about what the injury is, what's going on, whereas in the preseason teams are not required to disclose that information. So we are kind of just getting a sense of things based on what we're observing and what we're being told and what is, for public dissemination. But it looks like, still something that he's monitoring. He tweaked it a little bit, and we'll see how he goes. Little Gio wants to know, did the offense play better today than yesterday? I'll let you take that one.
No, I think that yesterday was probably better overall. Now, again, certain periods of the day, depending upon, are we talking about the 7-on-7s? We're talking about 11-on-11. We're talking about red zone. We're talking about 2-minute drill. Every one of those periods is different. And so just a general question, I don't know if you can even give a general answer there, because every one of those specific periods has certain things they're trying to do, and the success grade, if you will, is dependent upon what that particular portion of the practice was designed for.
Love it.
So I don't know if there's a real answer to that. I would say yesterday I felt a little better by the end of the day. If that's the question you're really trying to answer generically, I felt a little better about the offense yesterday, but that's not to say that today. We read some plays for you.
Yeah.
There were some really good plays.
Yeah, there were some plays that were made. Giants fans, run or walk with Giants legends. The Giants Foundation will host a 5K race and kids run presented by Quest on Sunday, October 26th at 9 a.m. at MetLife Stadium. Net proceeds will benefit the Giants Foundation. All participants will receive a commemorative t-shirt, and after the race, stay for a post-race festival with appearances by Giants legends and a live DJ. Register now at giants.com/5K. The Giants Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. 201-939-4513. Phone lines, lighten up. Kevin in Arizona, you're on BBK with Madelyn and Paul. How's it going, Kevin?
Hey, it's going good. How you doing, Madelyn? Hi, Paul. How you doing?
Hi.
Having a great day?
Doing great. Thanks for calling.
Well, yes, you mentioned earlier just a few minutes ago about Cam Scadaboo, and I'm just wondering, is Dable possibly keeping it quiet with him so that they can spring him on Washington fully healthy and the cannonball Cam starts to run?
No.
I love that your mind is going into gamesmanship mode of cloak and dagger of how can we get. I respect that, Kevin.
I have a funny feeling.
I respect it.
Feeling.
And listen,
Dable's keeping it awful quiet.
I know.
No.
But no, he wants as a rookie, he wants to get him the reps when he is healthy. I think it's really just hamstrings are so tough to come back from, and guys have sometimes tweaked it. But I know you're out in Arizona. I'm sure you're well familiar with the Sun Devil action, and much like myself, very excited to see him on the field. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. I know. Every day I watch the videos, and I'm hoping we'll see 44 out there. But that's why I'm starting to think, my gosh, he's awful quiet about it. Doesn't want to answer any questions. So I like Dable. if he's playing that game. I know you probably disagree, Paul, but anyway, that's what I think.
Yeah. I would say he's not playing the game, but I respect the theory for you, Kevin.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks for the call.
Show.
Thanks for the call. Like sometimes we have those moments, Paul, where it's all right. He'll, be a little bit cheeky or a little bit, but when it comes to a rookie, you want to get him some game reps.
Yeah, I think there's too much value in getting these guys out onto the field right now because there's an acclimation period to the NFL. Don't kid yourselves, folks. This is not like just add water and the rookie is immediately going to become a valuable part of your team. I mean, I know we kind of think that Abdul Carter is going to buck that train, then he's going to be good right out of the box. Well, he's kind of a little different than most people, okay?
Yeah.
He is going to kind of be good right out of the box. But
he's got to be. He's not getting a haircut till he gets a sack.
Oh boy. So, no, I appreciate the thought, but there's nothing to it.
Yeah. 201-939-4513. Back to the phone lines. Mike in Indiana is on the line. Mike, how's it going? You're on Big Blue Kickoff Live with Paul and Madelyn.
Hello,
Mike on line 2, going once.
Yes.
Oh, there you are.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Thanks for calling, Mike.
Yeah, it's going great. Thank you guys, Madelyn, Paul. Great to talk to you guys. One thing that comes to mind on this beautiful August the 13th, as I reminisce on the game from this past Saturday, is the rushing offense, and I would like to see a running back maybe lead our team in rushing,
Of
this
course.
weekend. Yeah, absolutely, and not have Jackson Dart. And I think that's a true testament, to how good this offense can be. Obviously, if we can run the ball, then we can use Russ and, what he plays best in and, the play action game. So, I would like to see this weekend a better rushing attack. And I really liked last year whenever, it seemed like on duos, when we ran duos, the rushing attack just really, like 3-4 yards per carry,
it more
average,
our
higher average on running on duos, noticing that a little bit. And then on defense as well, you guys touched on it a little bit, and like Dex said, first and second down isn't going to, they're not going to be passing. We got to get past first and second down to really see what our cornerbacks and our front seven can do as a pass rush. And, I think that's key, this year, more important than anything is our rush defense and our rush offense, obviously play as a whole team together. But that's what I really would like to see this weekend. I know it's preseason. It's kind of cookie-cutter design offense and defense and not really doing anything too flashy and disguising anything. But that's what I'm looking for this weekend. And I want to give a shout-out to my mother today, Jolene, in Indiana. She gave birth to me 34 years ago today.
Nice.
And I want to say thank you to her.
Happy birthday.
For doing what all these mothers do out here and give birth to their children. I can't imagine what it's like. And thank you to her, and God bless her, and God bless the New York Football Giants. And thank you for a happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Happy birthday, Jolene.
A couple things that Mike said that really kind of sparked something for me. Number one, in terms of the run defense, one of the ways you can also help your run defense, and people don't even talk about this or think about it, when you have a better offense that scores points,
yes,
and can actually make the other team have to throw the ball because they need to keep up with you on the scoreboard,
right.
It also makes a difference.
Yeah.
I am so tired, folks, of having the Giants behind 90% of the time on game day when it allows the other team to just pound, and take advantage of the Giants' rush defense. Well, if your offense puts points on the board,
right,
they're now telling the defense, hey, guys, okay, we're going to be present on that scoreboard too. They're going to have to throw it some. Yeah. They just can't sit on it and run the ball and try to clock you guys in the nose.
Right, because if they're playing from behind, if the opponent's playing from the behind, they got to throw the ball. They don't have time to run it 3 yards in a cloud of dust every
Why is it complimentary football, Madelyn? Yeah. Why is it that nobody ever talks about this? All right, point number 2. I'm so glad Jackson Dart came to the podium today.
Yeah.
Because he admitted that Brian Dable gave him a little bit of a hard time for not sliding feet first and on his scrambles the other day in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. The 19-yard scramble when he went up the middle, look, folks, he felt the pressure. He did a good job, tucked it away, went forward, okay? Everything about that play was terrific, except what did he do at the end of the play? He went head and shoulder first into contact. Mm-hmm. Dangerous.
Very.
After the game, Dable said he's got to do a better job of protecting himself, but I don't want to take the aggressiveness away from him.
Yeah, and after the game, Dable acknowledged that he liked the way that he ran that run. And he liked that play, and he liked the aggressiveness, with the caveat of
asterisk.
You do need to be protective of the quarterback position. It's not always, okay, let me make sure you get down immediately. There are some plays that he admitted that, yeah, there's some plays where you need to go run, take a little bit of contact, and having a guy who's strong enough and built enough to do that, just don't make that a habit. That's kind of the stance there.
I'm just really glad that Dart revealed to us that Dable did pull him aside and gave him a little bit of a hard time about that. Because to think that Coach would not have done that, I talked about this on the show on Monday.
Right.
I was like, that's something that's got to get cleaned up. You just can't let that go. And I'm glad to hear. I expected that Dable would follow up maybe behind closed doors. Dart now told us that. He did follow up behind closed doors and kind of gave him a little bit of a hard time. It's like, you got to be careful, kid.
Brian Dable,
don't get yourself hurt.
Brian Dable and Jackson Dart have such a good
relationship.
They really do. Such a good relationship. Not just a good head coach quarterback relationship, but they have such a mutual admiration for each other, a mutual admiration for the way each other sees the game. Dable will say, man, I love that kid. I'm a big fan. I love this kid. They text all the time. They're in constant communication. It's a really good relationship. I don't see any scenario in which Jackson Dart does something that Dabes doesn't pull him aside and say, hey, here's how we can get a little bit better.
I'm just glad that we had that reveal come out
and
today.
that he was able to be like, hey, let me tell you how that conversation went. Giants fans, the Giants official connected TV streaming app Giants TV brings original video content and game highlights on demand and direct to Big Blue fans. Giants TV is free on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, and on the Giants mobile app. 201-939-4513. Let's go back to the phone lines. Jason in New Haven. Jason, welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live. You're on the show with Madelyn and Paul.
Hey, Madelyn, Paul, how you guys doing?
Doing well. How you doing, Jason?
Yeah. Good. I know I might sound like a broken record, but if you would allow me just to go back, I know we're on the week of the Jets preseason, but I wanted to go back to Saturday, quick things, because I know you guys got to go, quick things that stood out to me. Of course, a lot of the rookies look good. Of course, Dart and Abdul. Fedoni really flashed to me, in my opinion. Bo looked really, really good. And I know people will say, well, he only played backups. Well, you only can play who's in front of you. So when people use that argument, I kind of laugh because all those guys made it to this level for a reason. Now all of them are not going to make 53.
Yes.
But you can only play who's in front of you. So I kind of scoff when people say, well, he only played backups.
And
so
to your point,
he looked
Jason,
good in that short amount of time.
That is such a good point to make because, like you said, okay, yeah, maybe they won't make the 53, but there's a lot of players that wouldn't make this level, the 90. These are guys who are working hard to achieve their dreams, and they're laying it all out on the field. So they're not nobodies, as some people on social media will say. These are talented players too.
Right. I want to point out two players, and I go off the air so you guys can vote. I want to talk about Dart. Real quick, I don't want to put the cart before the horse here. He has a lot more seasoning and work he has to do within the offense and becoming an NFL quarterback. But two plays stuck out to me. First was that screen. I thought Kafka called that screen.
You're talking about the loop?
Even for preseason.
Jason, is that the looping screen that he threw to the left side?
Yes. Yep,
Beautiful. The way he just lofted that little rainbow. Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. The execution of the little rainbow loft that he threw on that screen. If he doesn't throw the ball like that, okay, almost like an egg. It was like an egg. Yeah. Just the way he lofted it over.
It was like a bloop instead
of that play never happens. In fact, more often than not, that play gets deflected or gets run back for a pick six unless you do it the way he did it. Sean O'Hara was in the booth and jumped on that immediately, and he was 100% correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the screen, when you could do it, when teams incorporate a proper screen game, it's such a big play with an offense. You could really take advantage of defenses. But one play with Dart, and then I'll get to my second point. One play that really impressed me, I don't know, I'm sure you guys were there, but that 2nd and 15, I think it was like 2nd and 13, 2nd and 15 to Montrell Washington in the middle of the field. And I know I'm going to bring up a name that Giants fans are not going to like, but Tony Romo in his heyday. Tony Romo in his heyday. I always loved this about his game, even though I'm a Giants fan. The way he could manipulate a pocket.
Yeah.
He wasn't Lamar Jackson, of course, but the way he could weave, bob and weave out of pocket, and the way Jackson was bobbing in and out of the pocket, resetting his throwing landmark and hit Montrell on that 2nd and 15. We haven't really had, and this is not a knock to previous quarterbacks. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, but that to me that stuck out to me more than really anything in the game, how he can maneuver in a pocket. Second player, and I'll take it off the air, and I'll get your Madelyn and Paul's opinion. I know last week or 2 weeks ago I said I really would like Jermaine to be extended. Another player on defense that I think is a player that you kind of have to keep, not have to keep, depending on the number. I mean, the way I've seen Micah McFadden blossomed since his rookie year to now has been really impressive in my eyes. I think he's one of those guys I think the front office needs to look into retaining, because we haven't really had him and Bobby make a really good middle linebacker duo. And to me, you keep the middle of your defense strong with Dexter, Bobby, McFadden, Newbin. You keep that backbone, or you keep that backbone of your defense, the middle of your defense. You try to keep it together as long as you can. And to me, McFadden is playing really, really good football. Even last year, I thought he was really we didn't have a good year, but he was really one of our underrated players. He played very well last year. He could rush the passer. He could stop the run. So let me hear what you guys have to say, and I'll take it off the air. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Jason. Appreciate it. Yeah, McFadden last year, there was a lot of games where he'd jump off the tape.
He has gotten better every single season he's been with the Giants.
Yeah.
And if you continue to believe that he will ascend even further, well, then, you're going to want to do everything you can to extend him. He had said to us, media-wise, a week or two ago that there had been no contract talks, and he was fine with that. He just wanted to go out and play. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see a couple more from YouTube before we wrap it up. Fezler61 says, if we get 8 wins, or dare I say 10, I like the positivity here, several will be because the defense gets us the ball and a chance to win as the defense-oriented G-men of old. Defense-oriented G-men of old. Sorry, I stumbled through that tongue twister there. But I like the callback to the vintage Giants style. What do you think of that?
Yeah, look, you can't plan takeaways. Mm-hmm. You can put yourself in position to potentially get some, but you can't actually plan how many you're going to get or when you're going to get them.
Well, and the Giants were among the bottom of the league in takeaways last season.
Brutal.
Shane Bowen knows that, has been prioritizing that. We've talked about this many a time. The turnover chest on the sideline, you get a takeaway, you put it in the chest, pirate mentality. They want to prioritize that. He says what you focus on is what you get, and takeaways are a big point of that. We saw that in the preseason game on Saturday in the fourth quarter. Defense gets a takeaway, gives Tommy DeVito a short field, and they score.
I'll just make one bold statement here. With Russell Wilson playing quarterback, and we know his touchdown to interception ratio was over 3-1, he is so well known for taking care of the ball, not putting it in harm's way, and not giving it away. If the Giants don't have a really high, positive turnover ratio, I would be very shocked this year. Now, I don't know how many they're going to get. I know they're not going to turn over very many at all. Not if Russell Wilson plays the whole season. They're not going to give away many. If the defense can get them a plus 10, let's just say, turnover ratio, boy, that'd be really sweet. And I don't think that's unrealistic, given the fact that Russ doesn't turn it over.
That would be very, very sweet. Hey, let's manifest it, right? Plus 10 turnover differential, 2025.
Hey, I'm all for getting more
Let's
if you
go.
can.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Get more
Take
if
it
you
away,
can.
take it away, take it away now.
That has to be
Remix
a
the
very
remix,
significant stat in the Giants' favor.
Yeah.
Because Russ will not give it away. So your defense has to make sure that you tilt that bar over to your side so that it's a very big plus for you. It can't be a neutral. Neutral's not good enough. It's got to be a plus.
Listen, the biggest differentiator in a football game, there is only one football. If you've got it for the most time and you score with it the most times, you win the game. Write that down. All right, on that note, I think it's time we wrap up today's Wednesday Big Blue Kickoff Live after Paul Dottino and I have been melting in the hot sun and, you know, all that for a few hours today. But thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Big Blue Kickoff Live, which is part of the Giants podcast platforms everywhere, giants.com/podcast. We're coming to you from the Giants podcast studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. For Paul Dottino, I'm Madelyn Burke. It's been a pleasure. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. We'll see you next time.